What's up, Daniel? Man, you're on time even when I'm early, huh? What's up, buddy? Here. Let me see. I'm gonna use this frame chisel. Let's see if there's anything else I might need. I'm just gonna hone this just a touch here. What's going on, Daniel? How was your day, man? How'd everything go for you? Yeah, that's even see it gets better once that happens, you know. I'm not going to be here tomorrow, so I just wanted to make sure I did at least one live stream before I had to leave. I'll be back for Monday, but tomorrow I will not be here. Got to go see the kids, man. And not in a reluctant way, but I want to see my kids. Hey Daniel, can you translate that? I think it's Arabic this time. Well, welcome, Halil, Mater, Mater. Halil, welcome. Glad to have you here. Okay, thought so. How you say it? Alaikum assalam, or how you say it back? However you say it back. It is Arabic, right? Arabia. See, I know how to say, how do you say that? Anna, Calvin. I don't know how to say this is, but this is Dad's workshop. I got my tools sharp enough. I'm gonna hit this with a little, let me get a little thing so I can put my mirror up. Let's knock down my framing chisel there. I'm good, Halil. Hope you're good. Glad to see Daniel in front of the program. Had a little jump in views there a second ago, went back down. YouTube is so confusing. Seem like they don't know whether they like me or hate me. This is not down to the line here. There we go. Problem with this little razor saw and these 2x6s is that the 2x6s are wider than the blade. So it's hard to get the blade centered on a line. That's a good question, Daniel, but it's not really a client. It's a family member. But I have been asked to make pieces of furniture and turned it down. In this case, it was me offering to do it for a family member who has a guest house. I want to put it in the guest house that they have, has some ugly beds in it. So it is a family member. But I've told you this before. I've sold furniture to people multiple times. I'm not really out there to sell. What I really proposed to them was building a bunk bed at cost and putting it in their guest house, because the guest house has a room with 2 twin beds in it. And because there's lots of kids in this family, I thought that I would offer to build one at cost, which means just the cost of lumber. And then it would give me something to do on my live, and I would be able to master building the bunk bed. So it's a good question. It is a family member. I do have people ask me to make furniture. If I don't like what I'm being asked to make, generally, I just turn it down. So it's not that I'm in need of jobs, because people sometimes offer me jobs and I turn them down. So see, my number one goal is Dad's Workshop, and making Dad's Workshop the Bob Ross of woodworking. That's my number one goal here, growing this community, building this thing here. So I'm not so worried about building furniture here and there for the rest of my life, and though I would gladly do it because it's fun. And I'm not really concerned about getting money. I have had job offers, so to speak. Mr. Beast fan, welcome to the program, Mr. Beast fan. I don't know. I wouldn't call this a woodworking channel. This is more of a kind of like an ASMR, just chill channel where we talk and we're like building a community. But I think you should probably, that's a better question for somebody who has a successful woodworking channel. Probably make shorts. Start by making shorts and just live stream. Mike is making stuff. Welcome back, friend of the program. You've been here twice now. Friend of the program. Oh no. Sorry to hear you have a sick cat. Chardonnay, welcome. Is it yeah, good to see you too, man. Welcome everybody. Appreciate you being here. Didn't expect a big crowd tonight because I kind of went off schedule. But let me get back to Mr. Beast fans. Mr. Beast fan, if you're trying to raise money for your sick cat, you should make a video. Make a GoFundMe. GoFundMe has a feature where you can link in a YouTube video. Make a YouTube video related. This saw is just too skinny for this application here. It works on the 2x4s, but on the 2x6s, it's just like a hair too skinny. I've been struggling with it. That's why these shoulders aren't cut very well either. Yeah, make shorts, live stream. I'm glad I'm being asked for advice. That means I'm doing something, I guess. I need advice. Yeah, thanks to everybody for showing up early. Big shout out Chardonnay. Big shout out Mr. Beast fan, new guy. Big huge shout out to Daniel, who was the first one in the classroom. If he was in my class, I would have probably given him a popsicle, but since we're grown-ups, you know, that's not really an appropriate gift, and I can't really give you a popsicle from here. Oh yeah? Mike is making stuff, says, I saw y'all representing, checking out my work. I can't wait to hear the feedback you guys have. I have resigned my work days to lives now. Well, that's kind of what we do here. I know, I like popsicles too. I would have to like throw you a popsicle, so hold your hands out. I got a good spiral. We'll get it to you. Chardonnay knows I got a spiral. She's seen me throw a football before. Man, people need to teach their kids how to throw a ball. What is wrong with people? Just for your kids, you know, just for their social standing in school, just help them out. Teach them how to throw a ball. What we got going on here? I have knots on both sides of this thing, so I wouldn't be surprised if I have a problem. Some problems clearing this out here. Do I have a nail or something in there? I just took a big chunk out. That's all it is. Let me use this and break this in half here. Oh wow, look at that. Nah, that's gonna have to be fixed, dude. Something happened there. I think it has to do with the knot that's on that side. That's just straight up blowout right there. It blew out all the way through the side. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this thing and glue that up. Gotta move my phone here. Emergency CPR I gotta give to this thing. Look what happened. How much it wanted to take up. I must have dulled that chisel instead of sharpening it. All right, so this is how you do this right here. Hopefully you can see. I'm gonna try to hold this down with my arm. This is heavy and it's top heavy too on this side. I didn't expect to have to move this during the live today. But we got an emergency. This is what always happens. Always expect the unexpected. We got a blowout there when I tried to clear out that that joint. I cannot have a joint that looks like that. So it's gonna have to be glued up and I'll show you how to do it. We're gonna feed the glue in there. I'm gonna use a shim and kind of like butter it in there, right? I'll get a little shim in a second. I'm gonna have to walk off the live for a minute. I don't know why it did that. I cannot make sense of that. Maybe I just took too much meat with that chisel. Pardon me for a second while I leave the chat to do this emergency here. Yeah, I used my glue up laminating that board today. So I got more. I just got to put it in the bottle. I think it needs more glue than that. All right, once you glue these up, usually if you use good glue, it repairs itself. I don't really want to put my chisel through a glued up spot, but I'm going to have to. So let me get a shim and shove it down in there as much as I possibly can. That's why you keep these little shreds like this, because they come in handy. You break a little piece off of this, stick the shim in there and run the glue down into the crack more. Scrape it off the top and run it down in there. I mean, there seems to be like something in there. It's weird. Like it doesn't even want to close. Man, that's weird. I'm gonna clamp it with like 60 pounds per square inch and see whether we can just get it closed here. Man, this is upsetting. Spent a lot of time on this already. All right, we'll do it. Tight Bond gets a free plug. Y'all notice I'm careful about plugging companies on here? That's a suggestion if you're starting a YouTube channel. Don't plug anybody's stuff, and unless they pay you. You can review stuff, but do honest reviews. Don't unnecessarily dick ride people and try to get sponsorships that way. It's not going to work. Plus, now people are looking for micro influencers, so I'm going to take a little shred of this. This came from my plane. You see this nice little ribbon here? I'm going to take a piece of this ribbon and stick it in that crack, because if the grain direction is right, side to side here, it's going to add some rigidity to this, believe it or not, just by the fibers being in there. So I'm going to throw a little of that ribbon in there. I'm going to put a little more glue in. sucks. I'm going to tell y'all that right now. I don't know why or how that happened. All I did was put my chisel against the edge. I think it's the knot. Hold on. Let me get a clamp. Now I got to clamp it. And we got to clamp it tight. This is pretty much common sense. I'm sure all y'all know this. When you crack something or blow it out to glue it up, but sometimes it's not possible. There we go. So if you look at this, I wish you all could see. I might have to move the camera there. There is squeeze out up here, which means the glue is squeezing out of the crack. That's squeezed down so tightly right there that's actually bent inward, which I don't even know how that happened there. But you know, lower quality lumber, it's kind of what you get. Kind of get what you pay for. All right, I'm gonna flip this now. I'm gonna move my phone so I don't crack it again. Oh yeah, man, for sure. I have an Apple Watch review I did when I started my YouTube channel, and I'm pretty honest on that because I use my Apple Watch every day. I just undid that clamp, man. So you got to leave this clamp for at least, since it's under stress, I can tell that it wants to open up. You want to leave that on for like probably 24 hours just to be safe. Now I'm going to flip this thing around and do the other side. I wasn't expecting to have to do that today. Hopefully I can even work that side. It's acting weird. All right, this is going to be tricky here. All right, so that side's going to have to wait because of that glue up issue. Sometimes that happens to the only thing you're working on, so you just have to stop for a day. But I got other stuff I can work on. That right there, that sucks. Because now I'm going to have to chisel through glue. It's bad for your chisel blades. I mean, all kinds of reasons why that sucks. And I wonder if it's because I just dulled my chisel. Ah, that seems fine. Must have been the grain down there. Like, I saw a bunch of knots. This wood is not great because they wouldn't let me pick at the lumber yard. They were being shitty about that. So it did feel like there was a foreign object in there, but when I clamped it down all the way. In fact, it clamped down more than the way, you know, like further inward to where it looks like there's nothing in there. There's some sort of it's a grain issue. And there's the knots. You can see this is new growth because you have knot, and they're all small. So it's all small branches. The tree was cut young, which is good. We don't want old growth trees cut down in the forest. And generally these come from Finland and Sweden, Scandinavia. That's where they're getting these, like from the, what do you call it? The boreal forest, unlimited trees. Yeah, that's right. So what, you know what that's called, Mike? Mike says where the tree grew around something, right? So that's called, what did I call it? What did I say that was called, Heather? Heather's not in right now. Reaction wood. So when a tree like leans over like this, it's actually not good to make furniture out of. Even if the trees just slightly lean like this, the grain inside of it is tightening up and tensing against that curve. So naturally, unless you're going to make something with that curve in it, it's bad to use curved wood. Now the Vikings made their boats out of curved timbers already, so they used the curved timbers to make their boats, and that made them stronger because they worked with the curve. Remember we were talking about this yesterday? Woodworking is the art of using the weakness of the wood to your advantage and the strength of the wood to your advantage. I say that right after I did had a big uh-oh moment. Yeah, reaction wood. So the wood has tightened its grain and become more dense unevenly because it's trying to balance off for some force of nature, either gravity, another tree's in the way of its light, so it's leaning to get light. It survived a storm, so it got leaned over. Anytime wood is bent and it's growing in a bent direction, that grain is different, and it's called reaction wood. That definitely down there, and these both are curved. So what I tried to do with these two boards is I tried to clamp them and force them into position. If you watch my short where I laminate these, I'm trying to force these boards because they're not very straight. I'm working with what I have, you know. It's the best I can do. Hope it doesn't do it on this end. I got a knot right here though, see? See, this end of the knot's gonna pop right out, right? But when I was sawing this earlier, it gave me it was a pain. My mirror so I can see my cut line on the other side. That looks like too much. All right. Should be 3/4 of an inch. And like I said yesterday, when there's a knot, it affects all the wood around it. It's not just the wood with the knot. It's the whole grain is now spun around. And knots are all tree branches. So wherever you have a branch, it's going to accommodate that branch. Got a lot of veterans in here. Mike, looks like Mike was in the Army. I think Daniel and Ruiz were both in too. So I seem to gather a lot of veterans in here, but thank you for your service. I am not. Appreciate everybody being here. Dad's workshop. Oh, you're not Daniel. Okay. Yeah. It's Ruiz. Ruiz and a couple other people. Maybe Hank. Someone else. All right, I got these two cuts here. Today on my short, I actually routed out stuff. The router jig I made is not really good for these 2x6s. It's a little bit too wide for them. I did actually use the router freehand a little bit just to practice. All right, man, I'm scared to do this time because I don't want anything to happen. I'm going to make a few more of these stop cuts. I'll do like 2. I don't want to sit here and saw this all day. Like you can see, it's too wide for this little razor saw. I should have kept my my shitty Harbor Freight saw for this kind of application. I didn't even think of that. Kind of regret taking my Harbor Freight saw over to my folks' house. And this is not something I can do in the bandsaw. This workpiece is too big. I could probably, the workpiece is too big for a jigsaw also, so. It's got to be done with either a hand saw. See, I feel a tightness right there. Look at the saw. This wood is weird. It's wonky, man. There goes my glue bottle. I don't like this board already. Look at how much it's fighting my saw. It's crazy. Yeah, it's a scary wood eraser. That's a really good way of describing it, actually. It is a scary wood eraser. It erases wood. I'm going to do a stop cut all the way around because what I should have done last time, Daniel knows this, a stop cut would have stopped that blowout that I just dealt with. And I didn't have one. So, due diligence, man. It's little things like that, man, that make the difference for you. I'm going to go across this line. I'm going to favor the upper part of the line. I need to put my reading glasses on. I'm going to follow that line there. You all tell me, am I on? Now, Mike, when you start your channel, I wouldn't live stream 24 hours a day. I would set a schedule, you know, and I'll come check you out too, just to support you. I mean, I got nothing else to do. Go all the way down to the end here. It even feels weird. It feels gluey, sticky, man. I know what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to get one of my little chisels and just beat the mess out of the wood until it cooperates. Beat it into submission with small chisels, right? Because the small, remember, force of impact when it comes to physics, and we talked about this a while ago. If you're having problems getting a piece of wood to cooperate with you, come off or whatever, the best thing if you're doing it by hand that you can do is actually find a smaller chisel, because that force of impact is concentrated to a smaller area, right? So I feel like I'm probably gonna have to hit this with a skinnier chisel here in a minute, but we'll start with just the ones I have. These are kind of my favorite chisels to use for this application. Let me do a stop cut on this side, because that was where I had the blowout problem before. So I guess if there's a lesson of the day, it's like always put a stop cut around your entire workpiece wherever your layout lines are. Just to be careful that you don't blow out wood and have to stop and glue it like I did. Because this piece may be ruined because of that one mistake. A little high right there. All right, now I'm a little more confident that if I make a mistake or if the wood doesn't cooperate. Well, that's good, man. You want to have value in your videos, making sure that you're, you know, for me, I try to just approach it artistically. Some people find value in just watching something that grabs their attention. They just want to relax. You know, people watch YouTube a lot of times because they're trying to kill time, and you know, that's a relaxation factor right there. So here we go. All right, that's better right there. I have a knot right here on this side, but that's a better cut right there, I think. That I can take off, right? Not worried, but you can see like that right there. It feels like it's sappy. There's a knot right here you can't see. I already know I'm gonna have to hit it with a sharper chisel. Not sharper chisel, but a smaller one. This is gonna make me go by the book right here. This is gonna be a pain. It's not. I'm gonna tell you right now, if I didn't do those stop cuts, that would have blown out right through my cut line for sure. There's my knot. Kind of test the sharpness of your chisel by seeing whether it cuts through a knot. See, I didn't do this earlier, man. I routed all this stuff out. Even the router sounded like it was struggling through this. Now that makes a little bit of sense, you know? Definitely the whole board feels like reaction wood. I cut down a black walnut one time that was all reaction wood. And then I cut it with a chainsaw. And I actually burned the motor out on the chainsaw the first time I ever used it by doing that. Oh yeah, man, I got a couple of them. Oh, this one right here. I don't even pull it out that often. It's really meant for like boat framing and stuff. It's like my prized chisel, but I rarely ever use it. Industry standard there, Robert Sorby chisel, you know. Shout out Robert Sorby. I'm not going to get sponsored by them, I don't think. They use the snobby woodworkers. That is the ones that know what they're doing. I'm just an average Joe, man. Who used woodworking tools as retail therapy for a while and then realized that I should actually use the tools. I always used them. There was a period in my life where golf was retail therapy. I just bought golf stuff, you know. So then I realized I was pretty bad at golf. Like, and I played it my whole life. This is, I can tell you what this is. This is spruce. That's not SYP. It's spruce. And that's why I say it's probably from Finland or Sweden. That's where most of our spruce comes from here. And if I was to guess at it, I imagine they're exploiting the boreal forest to get it, you know. That is the forest that covers the entire top of the earth. It's like all spruce, basically. Until we ruin that, too. I'm just going to start taking a little bit less meat at a time here, like that. That's probably a good amount there to take. See, my chisel is really sharp. It's just the wood is difficult. See? I can easily shave pieces off, but I need to take larger chunks off here. I'm scared to saw back through it again because it already gave me problems with that. Definitely that timber slick would probably come in handy right now, but I'm not going to get that huge chisel out here for this job. Probably my other framing chisel maybe. That's getting close to that line there, so I want to be careful. Right here near that knot. Got another knot on the top here. Generally, framing chisels, you don't hit them, but here I have no choice. Big knot right there. All right, so like I said, I'm gonna have to use a small chisel to pulverize that little thing. I think the best one I can use is one of these mortise chisels here. This is a mortise chisel. You notice it has no bevels on it. I'm gonna see if that'll work. If not, I'll try another one. It's just... Y'all can see what it's doing right there. It's just a pain in the ass. This may be the most difficult wood I've ever tried to work, and I've worked oak and I've worked like black locust before, and never had wood that was this stingy. Like, it's just not wanting to break. It's not wanting me to work it. I mean, that probably went below my cut line, but you could see the whole knot. And now let's look at the grain direction, how it's altered there. Yeah, gnarly, man. That's the best way to describe this. It is actually has gnarls in it, so it is actually gnarly to the definition. I should have routed this today. That router would have made pretty quick work of this. You know what, man? Maybe I'll just plug that router in right now. Put my microphone aside and do the router on it. Or not. Whew. It's kind of hot, too. Is it hot there where you all are? Plug the router in, really? You want me to plug the router in? All right, let me move some of this hand tool stuff out of the way first. Now, even with the router, you got to have stop cuts, and probably more because it throws wood around too. I don't want to get all dirty, man. I got to drive in a car. I don't like to drive dirty. I might have to veto that. I might have to veto the router because it's gonna send junk up in the air. So I take it back. I'm not gonna use the router next time, Daniel. We'll get the router out. But I took a shower, got myself all cleaned up because I'm about to drive in a little bit. If I use the router, it's gonna throw dust all through the air. I did it earlier, and I was a mess. But Daniel, I promise you, we'll get the router out next time. I also, it's on my short from yesterday too. If you want to see how I use the router in this application. Got my little mirror here. I want to see whether I can get down to that cut line. This is, like I say, some of the gnarliest wood I've ever worked here. All right, find a really reliable, smaller. This is one of my favorite small ones here. Doesn't feel super sharp though. I'll try to take little bite-sized chunks out here. Hopefully y'all can see. I hope I didn't move out of the frame. Oh, my door open. I need to go shut that. I left this just for today's live. Now I regret using this board. Like, had no idea it was going to be so gnarly. As Mike is making stuff. Said Mike is making things. Take a drink of that coffee, which does not have any other substances in it. Only coffee. I might just have to tolerate the knot right there a little bit. There is no job in the world. Well, there is a lot of jobs in the world. I take that back. You know, sometimes I start saying stuff. Sounds good in my head. Doesn't make sense. But I think the best workers or the most effective people are people who have creativity, right? J&J, welcome back. It's been a minute. Really? That's upsetting. J&J said I got to check my alerts. I never got any. That's terrible because, you know, I put a lot of effort into this channel. For them not to send you alerts when I'm doing lives or put shorts up, that's disappointing. But welcome back, J&J, friend of the program. Shout out Mike is making stuff, Daniel, Heather, definitely Chardonnay, all of my regulars. Appreciate y'all being here. Try to show my appreciation for y'all. Yeah, you know, they also unsubscribe people now. I don't know if you know that. They like keep track of what you watch. This is what one of the YouTubers I watch said. Said they unsubscribe people, man. I don't like that. You should unsubscribe. Like, I bet they don't unsubscribe you from like Mr. Beast, right? No, they never do that. Just like, it's really, really, I'm not going to get negative, but it's very, very difficult to make it to a monetization level at this stage. And like, I was telling Heather about this earlier today, how like, they don't have any problem cutting huge checks to the big creators because they, you know, I guess they drag in an audience, but their momentum is what's taking the audience. It's not like they're making any unique content. Mr. Beast has a TV show now. It's all the same stuff, giving people money to do crazy stuff. Not going to lie though, I do watch it. I don't go to his YouTube channel, but when my kids put it on or whatever and it pops up, I do watch it. Yeah, man, it's just like, I don't know. It's just like everything is set up for the, you know, to give advantage to the rich, the already established, you know. Maybe if I get rich, I'll change my mind about it. I hope not. You see how that wood is sticking up like that? It looks like, who was it saying that? Mike is making stuff. It does look like SYP, like fat wood is like that, man. It doesn't break easily. It's very, there's hardly any resin in this at all. So it's not resin. It's just the direction of the grain, and it's really stubborn. All right, so we're gonna use the old trick, which is to cut these off at the ends like this, so that we get the material off and can keep going, because really it should chip right off, but it's not doing that. So we have to break it off by cutting down through the grain. All right, now we're making progress. I do feel like I'm carving maple though, you know, or some hardwood, cherry. Doesn't feel like a softwood right now. What we got going on here? Oh yeah, man. You know, that's what I'm doing. I've got like, what do I have? Like almost 210 videos or something online. I got a lot of videos, man. Oh, what I was saying a while back was I made a video about the Apple Watch. This was one of my attempts to make videos early on, because I use the Apple Watch every day. A number of the things about the Apple Watch are undesirable. It doesn't like to respond when it's wet. What do you do when you sweat? You have to touch the screen. Boom, boom. Every time mine's locks up, right? So it's locked up. I got to unlock it. If it's wet, it won't unlock. If it gets cold, if you're running in the cold, it doesn't work well then either. what happens if the battery dies when you're swimming, right? Then the water lock goes off, right? Or they don't have anything that they talk, like nothing in the book tells you, because there's no real book with it, what to do if you're swimming and the battery dies, right? And then sometimes the screen just doesn't respond and gets wonky. I mean, even when this was brand new, I had that problem. Chardonnay, she might be able to put some, oh, we got an updated Discord link. Make sure you join the Discord if you're new to the channel. Now I might go after this with a larger chisel here. I think I'm gonna use, I don't use that one very often, do I? I'm gonna use this one. I usually keep this boy pretty sharp. All right, and we have a knot right here. You can see how that breaks off here. Yeah, no, that's all right, man. Take your time. I'm not checking to see. Really? I'm not saying it gets wet and not works. What I'm saying is if the screen is wet, right? If you're running and it's raining, or if you are sweating and sweat gets on the watch, if you're trying to change workouts or change any of the things on it, it will not respond. Also, it gets condensation on it in the cold, and the condensation acts like water on the screen. But yeah, I know it's a lot of people have them, don't do a lot of fitness with them, but if you do fitness with it, those little things do they do bother you. You know, it's something they can improve. They charge a lot for these things. You know that. It's just like truth in advertising. We just want them to be honest and don't make it seem like this device is perfect. But I still get views on that video. You would think starting a YouTube channel that what you're supposed to do is make videos, but I don't think that's what it is, man. Like, it doesn't seem like there's a, what they call it on Reddit, like a YouTube hack. Like, there's always like a YouTube trend, and you have to find out what the trend is or what they're doing, what kind of program they're doing. Where are they giving the views? Where are they allotting the views? Where is their prioritization? This is to Mike's point about how to start a YouTube channel. What I figured out was that they were prioritizing live streams and shorts big time. Like, I got a lot of shorts views for the first time ever. And I realized that they wanted me to make shorts, and that was going to get me subscribers, right? Then I did a live stream of me on the elliptical, which was ridiculous. No lighting, terrible lighting. It's still on there too, by the way. I'll leave it up. Had a bunch of randos show up, and I realized you can get subscribers by doing live, you know. Then I cooked a couple things on a live stream. I made a couple dishes because I like to cook. That went well, and I was like, nah, let me renovate one of these or restore one of these wooden chests on live, you know. And then that started to make me realize that the angle was live streaming, you know. But even then, you want to have your lighting right. You want to have sound right. Like, they reward you with more views when your sound quality is better, when your visual quality is better, like your lighting is good. I have a lot of lights in here, an insane amount of lights. Right now, 1, 2, 3, I have 3 lights. One is a 100-watt LED. And there's a 250-watt LED that's hanging from the ceiling, like a softbox that has a sheet around it. You've probably seen it when I've had to flip the camera around. So lighting is really important. So I didn't think of these things right away, Mike. So if you're still there, these are part of my tips. Make sure your lighting is really good. Try to find a powerful light, or get a softbox, but don't get one from Temu. Make yourself a softbox, because you need wattage behind that softbox. Like, it needs to have wattage and a decent spectrum. You know what a softbox is? Whatever works, Mike. Thank you, Jane. I appreciate that. After all this time coming back to troll me. She's trolling me. Nah, I love you, Jane. I'm just playing. I love all y'all. It's true. Whatever works is really a better answer, right? We're making progress here now. Took a little bit. I stand by this being some of the most stubborn wood I've ever experienced. Hold on, my clamp fell off the other end. That's what y'all heard. You did tell me about that troll yesterday. Yeah. Man, I hope that crack closes up because the clamp came off and the crack opened right back up, and it's been like a half an hour, so that glue should have set a bit. Like tight bond, really about a half an hour or 45 minutes. That's not, I mean, if the joint's going to be under stress, like you want to let it go 24 hours, right? But if there's no stress on what you're gluing, then about a half an hour to an hour, usually it's dry enough to like take the clamps off or whatever it is that you're using to hold it. Yeah, but Mike, if you do a woodworking channel, man, we should get some stream software, stream at the same time, you know, do a back and forth, you know, Q&A and have people on and just, you know, all that kind of stuff. That's any of y'all. If any of y'all start a channel, we definitely need to do. That's how we build each other up, build the community. I want us all to get rich. Kind of staying away from this for a minute because I want to deal with it the proper way. Let me see if I'm over here. That came off pretty easy. That did not, so. I'm really worried about that other side, man. Anybody else get preoccupied with stuff? I do. Back through this knot again. This is the most stubborn pine, spruce, fir species I have ever encountered. I have never had a specimen so difficult to chisel. At first I thought it was my actual chisels were dull, and they're not. Y'all saw them yesterday. Those things were like a hot knife through butter. Haven't seen Ruiz in a little bit. Wonder what he's up to. So J&J said, so how's the neighbors doing? I suppose you're talking about the neighbor who sicked their dog on me. Is that the one you're talking about? I'm sure he's doing just fine. I'm not a vengeful person. Yeah, that's what I thought she was talking about. Yeah, today I ran in the cul-de-sac and saw the guy come out the front door. So I kept running with myself facing him. So it was like, you know, every time I would come around, I would turn so that I was running backwards or doing grapevines. I wouldn't take my eyes off of him while he sat outside and smoked a cigarette. He's gonna have a hard time fighting me, smoking so many cigarettes. He must think someone must have told him something. Oh, I didn't tell you. Oh, I didn't tell you this. Here we go. Here's the other part. I was out for a run in the morning. I don't remember what time it was. My time varies. And I saw them in the corner of my eye coming behind me, and no lie, can't make this up. He was in the back seat of his own car, and he saw me and ducked down and told his girlfriend, drive quicker. I saw it. They rolled right past me. He was in his back seat of his own vehicle. His girlfriend was driving, and he ducked down. I mean, how much more obvious could you get? Someone must have gotten his ear about something, because, and I don't really care if they did or not. Probably better that they didn't. Don't sleep. It ain't over. It ain't over. Yeah. Yeah. And I saw him today. You know, I never really looked at him or sized him up because I don't really care about that. But when I saw him today, I mean, he's a man who's over 6 feet tall, you know. So he's not a small guy. But, you know, he's kind of a dummy. And, like, I think he lives a pretty cozy life because, like, last weekend, I was out running about 4:30 or 5 in the morning, and he came home. This was on an early Saturday morning. Now, his girlfriend lives there at the house, but she never goes anywhere. But he came home at 4:35 a.m. Ladies, how many of y'all are going to tolerate your girlfriend or boyfriend, depending on your preference, coming home at 4:35 a.m.? Probably not many of you. That let me know this person was a doormat. Right? His girlfriend's a doormat. Also, I'm going to sit in the back seat and hide, drive, hurry up, because he ducked down when they passed me. I'm like, man, that right there, he's either embarrassed or he's scared. You know, there's only two possibilities. And let me tell you what I'm not. I'm not embarrassed, and I'm not scared. And I haven't stopped running down his block yet. And I haven't seen that dog since that day. I have not seen that dog. I think they sheltered the dog and took it out of the neighborhood because I've been known to bust shots off when dogs come in the yard, right? So probably someone in his family is like, you mean the crazy white dude? Don't sick the dog at him, dude. He'll shoot it. And he wouldn't be lying. So... And I don't like shooting dogs. It's a nice little dog. But I don't play, you know. I'm not here to play games with people. I just want to live in peace. I want to live in peace and pursue happiness. And that's all I'm trying to do. Oh, let's definitely hope it doesn't go there. I mean, I really don't. I don't want any trouble. What I would prefer is the guy to, like, come to me and say, you know what, man, I was just joking or whatever. I don't know how you can make that into a joke, but I was just joking. I really, it's not even my dog or whatever. Just come to me like a man and be a man about it. And just, I wasn't feeling right. I was drunk. whatever it was, man. Whatever the excuse is for that behavior. I don't know how you have an excuse, but, you know, weird stuff goes on in this neighborhood. So, kind of all, you know, like a lot of neighborhoods kind of behind the, you know, behind the curtains, behind the scenes. There's stuff going on here. You can feel it. Now, I don't care whether you sell drugs. I don't care what you do to make your money. I really don't. But just don't engage with me. Because once you engage with me, then you got a problem, man. I'm not the one. I'm really not. And somebody probably told him that. I mean, that was a blatant line step. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was stepping on the line, like stomping on the line. What you gonna do? That's exactly what that was. There's no other way to take it. This is not right here, as we expected, is being very stubborn around this edge here. Nothing changed about me? Is that a judgment of me? The sick kitty guy, is that who's the sick kitty guy? Who are we talking about? Are we talking what? Yeah, I don't know, man. I didn't check it out, so I don't know. The sick cat guy, I'm so confused. What the hell is going on? Someone please explain. I saw a comment about a sick cat earlier, but like, you know, I didn't pay much mind to it because we got like kittens here too, and we got all kinds of problems. And animals, we got 9 dogs, so we got nothing but animals. We have to, we take donations for that stuff. That's where we are. Heather's whole channel is about animal rescue. So, and we are not frauds. We are the real deal, man. But I know that wasn't directed towards us. Squid Inkster? I don't know that one. I didn't see them here. Squid Inkster. Hold on, let's go back. They probably, some people pop in and out. I'm going back to the beginning of the chat trying to find it. Oh, who said, I did see a comment from, sorry I missed this. Mike is making stuff said, can you rip down from the end a panel saw? So when you rip cut down these, it always ends up wonky, man. It's hard to rip cut. And if you look at my rip saw, it's barely the width of this thing. If I had a larger rip saw, it's possible. Somebody asked me the very same question last time. It's actually easier to make lateral cuts, cross cuts, and then just chisel the waste out. It's going to be a cleaner process if you do that. That was a question way back. Apologize I didn't catch that. This was back in the beginning of the chat where the cat was mentioned. Mr. Beast fan, it was you that said you were this sick cat. What are you talking about? What did he say? What is he doing? I love this. Yeah, he's the one who wow. Pancake art? Yeah, that's what it sounds like, man. And this kind of, my growing channel is where these folks, like, they come in and they get attention here because I talk to everyone because that's how I am. And so then they just can't handle it. Like, they can't handle that attention. They just can't, like, sit with it. Like, he could be cool and be in here. We would all check out his channel and everything, right? We would. Not that we would all like it, but we'd all check it out because that's how we roll here. We're good people. But the problem is then you come in, you say some other stuff, and you just, look, hey, come back Monday. It's a slow burn, man. I really don't care what's on your channel, to be honest. People got channels for all kinds of crazy stuff, and I don't judge that. There's a dude who makes like tiny mouse armor so that they can protect them from cats. So all kinds of stuff that you can make a YouTube channel out of. That sick cat guy is a fraud, and then we go back in the chat and find out it's actually him. So weird. What is going on? Speaking of bath salts, the gentleman down the street may not be the only one on bath salts. OMG, that's cute. Are we talking about his digital crackheads? That is true. It is like digital crackheadism. That is, man, I'm banking that one, man. I'm stealing that one. Hey, man, the dude with the cat channel is a fraud. Hold on, who's the dude with the cat channel? You're the dude with the cat channel. What is going on? It's bonkers, man. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy what people will watch, isn't it? Bing. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like some people. Yesterday, Mike was up in here when I had over 100 people watching, and they're all, I don't know what they're all doing, sitting on their computers. You use your imagination what they could be doing, but oh man, I should tell y'all a story, but it's really inappropriate. My first year teaching, I'm going to tell you the story. Here it is. Hope I don't get banned from I'm going to get banned from YouTube. I don't even think I've told Heather this story, so it's going to be the first time ever for her and this story. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I have. My first year teaching, I was 24 years old, and I was in the classroom, and I had zero idea what I was doing, and there was a young lady in my class. If I said her name, Chardonnay would probably know her, so I can't say her name. I looked into my class. Everybody's sitting there listening to me like nice people. Some people are joking, or I had little classroom management when I first started, so wasn't like a lot of compliance, but I had the class under relative control. And I look down the row, and the girl is like, she has both her hands in her crotch, right? And is like, I don't know, like, I guess masturbating. This is my first day of teaching ever. It was my first day. It was my first week. And I was like, oh my God, this job is going to be so hard. What am I doing? What did I walk into? It was bananas. I think she has like 5 kids now. Last time I saw her, it was great. She was married. I saw her like in town. She had like twins were her first children, and she has a bunch. She has more kids than me for sure. Not surprised about that. She's definitely a candidate. She was a candidate for that, obviously. But yeah, I was like, what? some of my clientele is going to be listening. Some of my clientele is going to be goofing off and not paying attention. And apparently some of my clientele is going to be like touching themselves. And I have to learn how to deal with all that clientele. Yeah, I'm not, you know where we were at. That's, yeah, I mean, and I don't, every kid has hormones and stuff like that. She was a really nice kid, But she was like looking straight at me too, like gazed at me. I'm like, and I was like, and this is a C, ding, ding, ding. She wasn't even trying to hide it really. Literally like my first week teaching. I don't think I ever told any other teachers that story either. I definitely told people I knew, like my folks and my brother, about that, because it blew my mind, man. Sorry for those of you who are sensitive to stories like that. Yeah, well, obviously I was scared because I'm like, what do I do? Do I call the principal in and then, embarrass her? I'm sure it would be humiliating for her to be in the office about that. I'm sure, 15 years later, I would have done that probably. I would have just like called the female, like a guidance counselor, and said, this is what I saw. I'm not characterizing it or trying to label it as anything, but this is what I saw. And that's what I'm telling y'all, like what I saw. It was pretty obvious what it was. And I've heard about male students doing that, actually several times over the years. Male students, some of them even got caught doing it. And, obviously that's pretty much a suspension there if that happens. But definitely I had never heard of a female student doing it. I never heard of it until that time. And I haven't heard of it since. So. It did make me think that maybe like later on that maybe there was stuff going on at home, So that was maybe one of my first. Yeah, they don't. Chardonnay may be able to help you with that. All kinds of stuff happens where people end up back in that school. Chardonnay is the only like former student that I have who's actually seen me in the classroom, so that's on here. But she knows what we were dealing with, like what kind of world we were in. It was crazy, dude. Kids did crazy stuff, and my last year teaching, they called me to break a fight. So I'm in a class, but I got like 36 graders in my class, and they called me and they say, Seaton, we need you to come down to this classroom. Seaton, quickly. And they're like, I'll watch your class. So a female teacher comes in, watches my class, and I go into this computer lab, and there is a straight up, just like these two kids, this one kid's got his arm in the dude's shirt, he's just pounding this dude's face in. And so I intervene, and I pull the kid off the other kid, and he's actually trying to fight me too at the same time, and he's a fairly strong kid, but I restrained him, and then I let him go because I got the other kid out of the room. This kid had actually come down the stairs to this room to beat this kid up, and so he was furious because he just got his ass whooped, in front of all these kids, and all the kids in the room were just sitting there like, what is going on? It's a computer lab. He picks a chair up, and these kids in the other half of the room cower. He is about to throw a chair at these kids in the corner of the room. And I look at him, I say, don't do it, don't do it. And I run over, I grab the chair. This kid was going to throw a chair at these people. He was back in 2 days. I don't even know, he literally was back in 2 days. He had gotten in a fight. and threatened the safety of the other students in the room. They were cowered under the desk behind stuff. He was going to throw a chair at them. They didn't do anything to him. They had nothing to do with the kid who came down to fight him. Apparently, he had been talking shit, and the older kid found out about it and came to his class knowing that his teacher was soft. And never have a kid answer the door. If you ever become a teacher, learn this. Never have students answer the door unless you know who is at the door. Always answer the door yourself. Yeah. That's crazy. Nah, I mean, I often, this situation, I guess the kid may have had an IEP or something, meaning he had paperwork to like, what do they call it? Mitigate his responsibility when stuff happens. But yeah, shoot. Nowadays there's really no I talked to the principal of my son's school. My son's been getting in some trouble. The principal basically told me they have no bite. They can't do anything. They can't really suspend kids. They can't really put kids in ISS. The school system has no teeth anymore to do anything, and I think that's going to be their downfall. This whole inclusive education, what do they call it? What is the name for this? There's a name for this. I should know. It's a buzzword in education now. Restorative learning, right? I think it's called restorative learning. It's where you don't have consequences for kids that do stuff. Try to keep them in the school. I think that is a huge mistake. It's erroneous to believe that if there's no consequences, it makes the classroom environment better. It doesn't. The kids in Japan and China and those countries behave because the law will crack down on them and put them in prison, and whatever their term is, they will serve the entire term. That is why the public, they can put liquor vending machines on the street. They fear the law. Not saying that that's a good thing, but in a school situation, sometimes you have to do that. Is Robert G here? Oh, what's up, Robert G, friend of the program. Brian, welcome, Brian, friend of the program. Hold on, I just left my live on accident. Yeah, you're right. It's data. They're desperate for data. They want to know. They want the kids to take tests. But the truth is that those kids are in the tier where they're not going to pass the test. I'm not saying give up on them, but they're in a tier where they need to be in look, at the last school I was at, they had basically what they called intensive day school, where they took the kids, they didn't have an alternative school anymore, but these kids got in too much trouble to be in the classroom. They need to have that available all the time, and they need to have a skilled person who can teach those kids in that classroom using alternative techniques. And before I quit teaching, I actually submitted to them a proposal that I be that person, because I can work with really difficult kids. But I had to be given the freedom, like I need to be able to take them outside to throw the football, right? I need to be able to give them rewards. I need to be able to stop instruction all the time to be able to reward the kid. Because what you do is you start by building a trust relationship where the kid trusts you and knows that you're like them, because I am like them. And then after a while, the kid starts to buy into what you're doing and starts to learn. But it takes they don't trust adults. I mean, they usually come from situations where adults are untrustworthy. So they don't trust adults. Definitely is a funding issue, for sure. But yeah, another shout out to Robert G and Brian. Haven't seen you guys in a while. Welcome back. So like didactic would be, didactic learning is usually, and that's what a lot of stuff is now, is like trying to teach moral from a morally, so you're a moral, what do you call it? You're on a moral high horse. That's a lot of the learning I had when I was little, was this didactic learning where they taught you morals and they taught you all this stuff. Now, you should teach kids morals, but what you're supposed to be teaching kids is content. You show kids morals by modeling morals. You model what good behavior is. That's why kids do that. Now, I've also heard didactic learning as a exchange word for rigid learning, right? Kids learn to do things in a very rigid, like in Asia, right? Where it's rote memorization, you know. We're actually getting down towards the cut line here. I'm surprised too. I didn't think I would ever get there. All right, now let me. Yeah, I actually had an idea of doing a podcast for teachers too, because there needs to be like a teacher rant podcast. They definitely have Reddit subs where teachers rant, but it's mostly the same stuff over and over again. Oh, they make us pay to wear jeans and just little trifling stuff. Nah, man, take me deep. Let's get into what the problem is. The main problem is administrators are paid too much and have no accountability whatsoever. So they're going to put teachers, they're going to drop all the work down to teachers, right, who don't get pay raises, right? They're not free agents and don't get big contracts. They make the same shitty wage no matter what happens or what their success rate is, right? And I'm not saying incentive pay is the right thing either, but the principals are free agents. And what they want to do is sit in their office and answer phone calls and not answer any and not have to deal with parents, right? Their job is best when they do nothing. All they got to do is show their face. They're basically a politician. But when they have to do work, that sucks for them, because that's why they went and got their PhD and their EDD, was because they'd rather sit in an office and collect checks. And almost every administrator I ever saw was money driven. Yeah, no, they can't where I was from. You can't wear have a voice changer or a mask. What is that? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what you're going with, J&J. Yeah. Maybe you're responding to a comment in the chat. I need to go back a second. Oh yeah, man. So J&J, you went from, I just told Heather this. I was like, whenever you go from the north to the south, if you think you're going to a better school system, think again. Think again. You may be moving to a better community, but New Hampshire schools are going to be far superior to the schools in Florida. Look, you're especially northern Florida or central Florida. The schools are probably decent in Miami or down see, the more south in Florida, the more north you are. The more north in Florida are, the more south you are. So if you're in Jacksonville or Tallahassee, and even central Florida, like Orlando, right? Daytona, the school systems are going to suck. Right, but if you're down in Miami or in the Miami area, you probably have some more affluency, which means the people are pulling political strings, and they want the public schools to be well funded. So basically, they get that. The money's there, the desire is there, the value for education, which is lost in our society in a lot of ways. We have lost our appreciation for the teacher. And what their role is in a kid's life, and the role of education. It's just babysitting. Parents hate holidays because they actually have to see their kids. Not all parents. Like, I'm sure you're a good parent, J&J. I love my kids too. They can be anonymous. Oh yeah, man, definitely. And they are on Reddit. You want teachers to just say it, because look, as a teacher, I had to speak up for us multiple times. My last couple years teaching, I'm sure Chardonnay will enjoy this. I started playing hardball with the principals. I would record him when he would make threats and say things to people that I thought were unprofessional. Then I would go to central office and play him for central office administration, because I didn't never do that in my career. I was not a snitch. But I started to get tired of what I saw as bad behavior from the principal. So I started recording him and provoking him in meetings. So I would provoke him by saying that I thought something he did was not necessary, or I didn't like a certain step. And then he would completely lose his shit, and I would get a great recording of like 30 seconds of him being an asshole, being terrible. And then I would bring it to the central office administration and say, this is what you got working in the office down there. Is this what you want down there? And then make their world difficult, because all they did was make our world difficult, man. They never helped us. All they did was trounce around the school like they were, like we were supposed to just appreciate whatever it is that they do from that office. They don't do nothing, you know. The people who are doing something are the teachers. In my opinion, the teacher of the United States of America, in most places, should stage walkouts and demand that they get paid a competitive wage that's a living wage. You know, that's what they should do. They should call in sick. In Virginia, it's illegal. A sick out is actually illegal. They made it illegal. They can arrest the teachers for calling in sick. I don't know how you do that. How do you say someone's not sick? You check their medical records? Because that's a violation of HIPAA, right? So the law doesn't make sense. Yeah, I think I might know who you're talking about. Yeah, if you're talking about the same person I'm talking about, that was one of the major reasons I didn't even get into it with them. I just decided that when they made them principal, it was time for me to go. And I didn't usually let a principal push me out, but I was done anyway. I was done. I was starting to resent the kids. I told everyone, including the kids, I said, when I start to, I love all kids and I have nothing against you, even if you treat me badly. It's not, I know that it's probably not me. I said, but I don't hold this against kids, but the day that I do, I'll quit. And when I started resenting the kids on my last year teaching, I put in my resignation notice because I was getting angry at the kids. It wasn't the kids' fault, man. They had no structure. So I can't get mad at the kids for what adults are not doing. Make them accountable. Make them fill this classroom with a person. I walked out of school multiple times. I told them, I was like, I sent a kid to the office or something. They sent the kid back to class. And I called him. I said, you better find somebody for the classroom because I'm on my way out. I play with these damn people. You want somebody in this classroom, you better respect who I send to. If I send someone to the office, they need to be in the office. You know, I didn't do that very often. They needed time in the office. And if they sent them back to me, I was going to leave. They're going to have to find another person for my room. Period. Yeah. Unfortunately, like the curriculums is actually, all it is getting harder, you know. So the teaching quality is poor. Like teachers, I'm sorry, man, in a lot of cases, like I'm hearing about some of the stuff my son's teachers are doing. I'm like, man, they really are they're just riding the union right now, man, because they can't teach. And I know why they can't, because it's crazy, right? There's a knot right here. They can't teach because it's insane. But what they do is get angry at kids and then basically shut down and teach the kids who want to learn. And that doesn't work, man. You have to teach everybody. And the only people who are making it nowadays are like people that wouldn't have made it teaching 30 years ago because you actually had to have some finesse, right? Nowadays, all you have to do is be organized. And an organized person does not a good teacher make necessarily, right? Sometimes organization helps you, but I was disorganized and I considered myself a good teacher. So just because you're organized and you have your ducks in a row and your book's all right, that doesn't mean you're a good teacher. That just means you're organized. I saw more than one person like that fail out of teaching in the first couple of years. I could see it when it happened. Yeah. Yeah. Good combo though, guys. I mean, we could definitely talk more about this stuff. I'm withdrawing from 17 years of teaching, so it still goes through my head, and I see what some of my coworkers will send me DMs about stuff that's happening in the school, and no offense to them, but honestly, I don't give a shit. Sorry. That's why I'm not there anymore. If I wanted to hear about the school, I would still be there. And that's probably why I didn't accept their friend request too, because I don't want to hear about the school. I don't care about those people. They didn't care about me. Straight up, man. 17 years of service. I didn't even get an email back, right, from administration when I resigned. My resignation wasn't even accepted until the very last day. They called me into the office and actually told me what I could do to be a better teacher when I had like 10 days left before I was leaving. And I just sat there and listened. Now, one of the guys in the office came to me later and was like, man, I've never seen somebody handle administration so cool. It's because I'm not scared of them. I'm not scared of them. What are you going to do, fire me? You need an ass in a seat. And that's what teachers know. So they can kind of, if they really knew it, they can kind of say and do what the fuck they want to do. Because they need your ass in a seat. And excuse my language, because I don't want to, I would like to monetize here. So let me make sure that I keep it straight from now on. Oh yeah, the climbers. Chardonnay's bringing up the climb. We need to talk about the climbers too another day. You never know who they are too. A lot of times they'll be buddy with you too, and then everything you start to find out what people are telling. Now, my last year as a teacher, I was playing 3D chess with administration and other teachers because I started to see this. So I had a coworker who I only told one thing to. So I had a theory that this coworker was repeating the things I was telling them to the principal. So I told them something that I didn't tell anyone else, right? And made it seem like it was something that I told other people. Think about this for a second, right? I told them something that no one else knew, right? But made it seem like others knew it. And then the next day, when I had a meeting with the principal and I heard it, I knew this person was in the office. I also knew when they called 4 teachers into the office and asked them, like they tried to label me as a divisive force because I was anti-administration. I was the vice president of the union for a long time too. And I didn't play games with these people. I know how to manipulate, like I do. I may not seem like it, but I'm not a climber. So I'm never in the principal's ear about other teachers. I don't do that. But I did send teachers to the principal. Sometimes they didn't even know it. I would say something to them and see if they repeated it to the principal. One time, one of them pulled me out of the camera, right? I got my arm pulled. They pulled me out of the camera and they said, blah, 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 blah. And I knew that they were trying to basically subvert the principal who was in their pocket, but they didn't want the camera to see that they were trying to manipulate me too. They were playing both sides of the game. They were trying to keep me in their pocket and also have the principal, which I think is ridiculous. None of us are making money for this. This is not the business world. We're not going to achieve anything by stepping on each other. It's so ridiculous. So climbing and teaching doesn't make any sense. What are you going to do? Be friends with the principal? They'll be gone in 2 years, and then you're going to be on your own, and all the other teachers are going to know that you're a snitch. Yeah, I was told I was insubordinate too. I'm not surprised that they did that with you, Chardonnay. A really quality person, you know. This is the type of people that they are. This may be one of the shittiest school systems in the entire country. I taught in DC public schools. You may have heard me say this before, Chardonnay. I taught in DC public schools. That's like the second or third worst system in the country. When I came to where we were, I thought it was worse. What I saw was worse. In my career, over 25 students of mine, former students, died. I only taught for 17 years, right? 25 former students. Of all those students, it was only 23, it was only 2 of them who didn't die by gun violence, right? Everyone else died by gun violence, but somehow the same people in power in the community are still in power. The mayor is a principal of a school. How does that work? Aren't you your own boss? Isn't that a conflict of interest? So, you know, it's one hand, they circle the wagons, they get together, circle the wagons, and then they want to keep the teachers beholden to them. And they weaponize gratitude, they weaponize lunches and little snacks, and then they try to rah you up. But the truth is that it's all BS. And everything they ever say about bullying is always lip service. Yeah. It's all lip service. They don't care about bullies. They just want us to be quiet. So they want the parents to be quiet and stop talking about it all the time. But I saw kids get bullied constantly. I was the only person I knew who stepped in the way of bullies. And I say that very easily. I have no problem saying that. I was literally the only person I knew who got in the way of bullying, especially towards the end there. If I saw it, and I don't see everything, but if I saw it, I got in the way of it. And I saw so many bullies get reinforced and treated by other teachers like they were special. Favoritism everywhere. If it's your cousin, everyone's cousins with everyone there, man. There's so much inbreeding. I don't even know what they're doing. They think so highly of themselves, man. It's crazy. They're the worst. You heard it here. Nah, I guess I better get going, guys. I got to drive a long time tonight. But I love y'all, man. Thanks for listening to me rant while I do woodwork. That's close to the cut line there. I might have cut it in a little too much there. And on this side, actually, it's not bad. That looks pretty level for me not being able to see it the whole time. I wasn't even looking in the mirror. I was looking at the chat most of the time. Let's just take this down a little bit here. I'm going to take this chisel here, go over the edge. And then once I get this down kind of towards that line, I can see the line on that shred there. Once I get it down towards that line, you do this diagonally, right? Make sure your chisel is sharp, and this will flatten it out so you get a I don't know why, man. I learned that from other woodworkers. Doing diagonal chisel like this, it does something. It's like almost works like a plane, And that's not too terribly bad there. Not bad for an hour's work or 2 hours work or whatever we did. Love y'all. Appreciate you, Daniel. Mike is making stuff. New friend of the show, Chardonnay. Daniel, if I didn't say your name already. J&J, welcome back. Welcome back, Robert G. and Brian Alexander, both friends of the program. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. It was like a really good night, man. Good likes numbers for me. I know it looks like nothing, but it's pretty good for me. We learned about digital crackheads. I'm going to keep that in my vocabulary. Just going back through the chat here. It was a good chat. It was a good day. Hug someone you love. If you got kids, tell them you love them. Give them a hug. That's what they need. They need love and attention. That's what, who cares about all that other stuff? All that stuff doesn't mean anything. I don't really care about algebra, Love your kids, love your neighbor, treat your neighbor, like you want to be treated. And it really is, that really is how it should be. And I appreciate all y'all being here. I'll be back. I will not be back tomorrow. I'm going to be out of town, or I will be with my kids. And I will be back on Monday. I may drop something or try to live stream from up there, but yes, Mike is plugging his Mike is making stuff channel. Check Mike out, check his channel out, see what he does. Appreciate everybody being here. It's Dad's Workshop. Like, subscribe, join the Discord, drop a comment, join the community. I love you all. Take care of each other. See y'all on Monday.